Oh, okay. This was actually one. This was a problem I had with it, which I have
Yeah.
with a lot of post-apocalyptic movies that sort of fall into this category.
Uh-huh.
Uh, yes, granted that now this is a world where one must be resourceful and cobble together things, and suddenly a popcorn popper is your best machine to do whatever crazy job it is.
Right.
But I felt like in that the Citadel had there was a, I felt like there was a lot of stuff that was just a little too custom made
Okay.
for the hard scrabble jimmy it together or as they say in the military these days, mad maxing
Oh,
things.
really?
Yes, were you not aware of that?
No, I didn't know that that had become a
Oh my god.
instead of Rube Goldberg from 1930. Now it's
Oh
Mad
no, no, no,
Max.
no! Do you remember when we had troops in Iraq, and at some point there was a controversy because they said that they were like under equipped. It was
Yes.
there that yeah, well, it was there that they had quoted one of the guys saying that they had to Mad Max the tanks
Oh,
to like
wow.
retrofit them to with things that they needed.
See, I would have
So
thought that meant that they strapped two of the insurgents on the front, and
one,
so
yeah, well, that would have gone over
yeah.
well. Yeah, absolutely. Um, So that crazy winch system that they had going on I mean, this is a
Yes.
cave.
Right.
This is a cave. Or like there was like one of those one of the cars chasing them had like a double row of saw blades coming
Yeah.
out from the top of the car just like this, and it's just so perfect, and it comes over, and everyone's like, who has time to like come up with this? You're
Right.
living in a cave. So there was the custom made factor that kind of
Yeah.
pulled me out a little bit. Another thing I love about the Road Warrior, and it is still the gold standard in that sense,
Yeah.
is that its portrayal of a
Yes.
ramshackle.
The primitive nature of how it approached that stuff was
Yeah.
truly much more primitive.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And that was part of the appeal, I guess, to me too about the second one. It was that it kind of reduced it all to like a primal conflict.
Yes.
Which sounds
Yeah.
funny given the prominence of mother's milk in this and water, but I don't know, it just
Yeah. I understand.
this was the Road Warrior on steroids.
Okay.
But good steroids,
Right.
not the
I
ones
understand.
that make
The
someone
bad
crazy,
ones.
kill
Yeah.
somebody.
Well, no, but
Yeah.
yeah, it still made them very angry. But
Yes, it did.
short of, well, there was a fair amount of killing. I mean, I don't know what the body count is, but probably pretty good. Probably
I
pretty
didn't
high.
understand what that silver paint thing was all about.
I think it was just sort of in the realm of that you are a ritualized marking yourself as a martyr.
Ah,
You're going to
okay.
martyr yourself, and this is the
That makes
act
sense.
you take before you do so.
That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
for all that means. Now, taking another step here, I know because I know I've referenced a bunch of other directors and a bunch of other films, but in particular, I don't know
Oh,
if you've
correct, by the way.
ever. Oh, thank you. I got all the names of everybody right. Yeah, it's really
That's
lucky.
right.
I wasn't even using IMDb this time. I saw another Tom Hardy movie. Tom Hardy's done a ton of stuff, and a lot of it we
I
haven't
was thinking
seen.
that too. I was thinking, man, I never heard of him before Inception. Now he's like in every third movie.
Right. So Inception is certainly one of the big ones, but I think a much smaller part for him. And I saw that. Prior to that, he did something called, well, not something called, he did a TV miniseries version of Oliver Twist, probably a non-musical version in England, I'm guessing. It's available on Amazon, on disc on Amazon, not streaming. And he played Bill Sykes, and he would be fantastic as the maniacal, deadly Bill
Yeah.
Sykes. He would be great. So
Yeah.
I may try to dig that up somehow. I'll see what it costs on Amazon. I may not be willing to pay for it,
Or
but
the successor to Mr. Oliver
oh,
Reed.
absolutely. He seems a little young to me because I think Oliver Reed was an octogenarian by the time he played Bill Sykes. But in any case, but here's one a Tom Hardy movie, and people saw, what was he, an outlaw, whatever that was, where it was like 1920s and they were bootleggers, and he's done a bunch of different things, but there was a real small one he did, and I don't know if we talked about it or not. If we did, then forgive me, but it's worth mentioning again. It's Locke, Locke.
I saw the trailer for
You
that.
saw the
Yeah.
trailer for it. Okay, I saw the actual
Oh wow.
film,
Okay.
and it is a heck of a interesting movie to me, and a good comparison to this, because he probably says 7 words in this movie, maybe 12 in Mad Max.
Okay.
But in Locke, it's him in a car on a cell phone in real time. He, as the character, has to leave his everyday life and deal with a kind of an emergency that has cropped up.
Right,
And so
right,
it's him
right.
driving from point A to
Yeah.
point B, and the act of him doing this creates, shock waves through his life, because he's on the eve of a giant project that he's got to be on the ground to handle, and he has to hand it off to someone, and then he's letting down his family for a variety of other reasons by not being there that evening. And then what he's going off to do is on a level of a huge traitorous thing to his family. And so he's trying to keep his family intact, keep his job intact, keep the project going, all these different things while he's trying to do this other thing. And it was, so he's talking the whole time. I mean, he's working his ass off in a vocal way, but he's also bringing everything else to it. And when all you're dealing with is a guy from basically the chest up, in a driving position, there's not a lot of, that you're really boxing a guy in, so to speak, as far as an actor is concerned, and what he can do or the options he can make. He does a terrific job. One of the really interesting things to me about it, just on a production side, is
Kind of like this. Kind of like Skype.
yes, exactly. Yeah, right. They shot it they did 6 takes, real time. He got in the car, drove from point A to point B at that time of night, and they covered the shit out of it.
Wow.
And they would have the other characters in a hotel room or whatever. They were all in one building, but in different rooms, so they could create the whatever noises they needed to in the background of those rooms.
Yeah.
And those conversations were then live. I think later the actors who were calling in ADR'd or looped or whatever their performances, so they could be perfected. But just such a fascinating idea to me to do 6 takes of a movie. It's like 3 nights, whatever it was, or probably 6 nights. But even still, it must have cost a pittance to do that. And it's just a really interesting movie. You got to have patience. It's not Mad Max. There aren't explosions, and there's no car chasing here. It's just one guy on a mission. And I think that you might possibly enjoy it. And
Thanks.
I wanted to offer it up. I can't say who directed it. I can't say who else is in it. I can't say who wrote it. But I'm wondering if my mentioning that movie triggers anything for you.
Only that he had also done this movie recently called like Victim 34 or something.
Oh, no,
like
Child 44. Child 44.
Child 44, yeah.
Yes.
Which did not get great reviews.
I don't think it did.
And he didn't in particular.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, that whole like boxed in feeling, that single shot cinema doesn't have a rich history, but yeah, there are things out there that
well, to be
that certainly
clear,
attempted to do that.
to be clear and go back a little bit, they're not playing it as a single shot at all.
No, I realize that because you said there were other actors. I know that.
Yeah,
it's not, hearing
but
them
you
on
don't
phone,
you
there are-
don't you don't see anybody else on screen. You're
Gotcha.
only ever in the car, but they do have
Other shots.
4 or 5 angles in the car. Probably, I don't know if they did a different angle every trip or if they had multiple cameras that you couldn't read the other camera in.
That's what
and they
my,
just
that would be
had
my
them
guess,
covered, yeah.
that they had like small cameras.
Yeah, and stuff like that. But well, in recent memory, certainly Birdman had the the effect of that single shot.
Still haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen that?
Yeah, no.
Oh man.
I know.
Because you have no inclination, or you're just
I know, 'cause
too
I have no fucking
fabulously
time.
busy? Okay.
No.
Well. All right. Well, I would be
If you spell
interested.
inclination Time, then yes.
And I do. Well, all right. That's fair enough. Let me know when you catch up with it, and we can
Okay. Yeah.
do a
No,
round
no, no.
on
I
it,
would
'cause
like to. I would like to actually very
I
much.
thought it was. It certainly merits a good going over.
I want to mention. I want to talk about the trailers I saw today real quick, and then I
Yeah,
really
do. You know, and they probably played in the same theater as me, but I've actually and sadly been, for these purposes, sadly, I've been avoiding the trailers because there were a couple of things that I actually was interested in seeing, and I just don't. I hate
averted my
trailers
eyes
now
to,
so much, unless it's a
averted
teaser
my
trailer.
eyes to San Andreas.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I want to be surprised.
I was diverting my
I
eyes.
already saw too much. I didn't even think about the Hoover Dam.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So clearly it's got some some stuff up its sleeve.
It does. It
I'm
does.
surprised. I'm surprised you're as hands off of it as you are.
Well,
Given that we saw 2012 together.
that's true, but I'm not sure that's something I want to brag about.
Too late now. It's out
Yes,
there.
I know. You've outed me. But so go on. What else did you see? What I'll hear. I certainly will lift my
Jurassic
moratorium.
World.
Yes, I've closed my eyes during that. Tell me what you think.
I'd seen a couple of TV spots that didn't do much for me, but this trailer got me.
Yeah, it got
got
you.
me into it. Yeah.
Maybe another movie that'll make us forget the third installment.
Quite possibly.
Hopefully, even the second installment.
Yeah, I didn't see the second.
Okay.
either, or the third. So.
Well, then you have nothing to forget. You'd learn.
But is
You'd
Bill
been
Macy in
burned.
the third?
Vince Vaughn's in the third, probably. I don't know if Bill Macy's in the third one or not. I'm
Or
not
is he in
sure.
the second one?
I'll find out while you tell me about the trailers.
Okay, all I know is that Bill Macy doesn't belong in Jurassic anything.
Anything? Agreed.
So that's kind of like putting Richard Pryor in a Superman movie.